They both suck really bad because it's, things are unexpected. They're a shock. For me, grieving someone that is alive, it's more so out of obedience to God. And I've been struggling. I'm still dealing with this, y'all. So, I'm not all the way out of it. I'm kind of like in the thick of it, I guess. But that internal war of going back and forward with God and with myself, like, okay, should I be the bigger person? Should I reach out? Should I do this? Should I do that? And every time I get shut down, whether it's something popping up on my timeline or I see a video or I see something on TV and it's like, no, stay obedient. Like, stay obedient. Every time I want to go and reach out, there's I'll think back to something, and it'll make me mad. But I'm like, okay, all right, God, I hear you. Okay, I'm trying to stay obedient, even though it's hard, and grieving this at the same time. So, don't know what the outcome will be. Hopefully, it'll be better. That's what I'm hoping and praying for. But what if it's not? I have to prepare for that too. And it doesn't just affect me. This is literally changing the family dynamic. And I don't know where that's going, to be honest with you. It's been really difficult. Really difficult.
I get that.
Yeah.
I heard somebody explain this before, and it just came back to my memory. When you lose somebody by death, or you have to lose them by choice of separation, it can feel like you're running really, 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 really fast, right? And then all of a sudden you trip and you fall on, like, face first on your stomach, and the wind gets knocked out of you. And so you're like, wait, what was just happening? I was just running. And you ever had that? Like, you remember when we was kids and we was on the, like, playground, or like on the playground and be running, and then you fall over one of them little things and you fall on your stomach and the breath leave and you just like, and then getting back up, like, that getting back up.
Yeah.
The breath got knocked out of you and you getting back up. It's like, what? This changes everything. Because before I was just a kid. I was just running, like, everything was all good. But what you mean they're not here no more? What you mean I can't call him no more? Like, for me, my dad, he didn't raise me. But as I got older, we became like best friends. Like, we would talk and we would laugh and we would pray together. He would call me to pray for him. And I would always say, I feel like I've been trying to hold it together. I feel like a man, he was the only man that ever loved me, like, genuinely loved me. The only man that I knew, no matter what, like, I could make him mad, I could hang up on him, like, whatever. And he loved me still. Because, they do nowadays, like, whatever. You make them mad, they go cheat on you. You make them mad, they put their hands on you. You make them mad, they leave or whatever. Like, something very conditional nowadays out here. And when I came to the realization, like, the one man, like, male figure as a woman that I can count on to love me unconditionally. Like, I mean, yeah, my brother's okay, but like, what, the one man I can count on to love me unconditionally, that told me, you're my baby, like, you know. And then when I would get, you know, when I would get my heart broken, call him, am I crazy? Like, what's going on? Like, and for him to just affirm me, what do you mean that's not there no more? Like, I don't have like somebody to reassure me that I'm still lovable. That's crazy. That's crazy. So to I was really holding it together.
Hey, it's okay. Just let it out.
Oh my gosh. But to grieve that, like, I don't know. I guess it was just really hard because and that perspective is probably why it was really hard for me to see things through a healed, the perspective of this is the only man that'll ever love me unconditionally. Because who said that? Like, what makes that statement true? I mean, yeah, he's my father, but what if there is a man out there that can love me unconditionally? I just think that it was hard for me to trust that because of what I've been through. But I think, and I brought that up because I relate that to me running, just thinking everything's okay. And then I fall on my stomach and just the breath gets knocked out of me. Like, the one constant, I love you from a man that I knew I could really trust. With all his baggage and all his faults and everything that he was or wasn't that everybody likes to talk about him for. I know for a fact, and I always say that. That's always my defense when they, oh, your daddy was this and this and that. Yeah, but he loved me. They be like, yeah, he did. He loved you.
Mm-hmm.
So, realizing that, okay, Faith, you've been affected by that. Like, you feel like the wind has been knocked out of you. Out of nowhere. And you're mad at me. And this is what I feel like the Lord is saying. Like, you feel like the wind was knocked out of you and you're mad at me. So it's like, because you feel like I took away the one man that truly loved you. So even if I tried to convince you that, you know, I can take this and I can make it into something else and I can use it for your good, you're not even ready to receive that. So that's where I went down that path. Would y'all judge me if I just put this tissue up my nose and just had it hanging out? Because this is ridiculous.
Sis, no.
Just put the tissue up my nostril. Just hang with the rest of the fall, like, how is grief affected?
I thought I was the only one that does that.
No, I do that. And you know what? Okay, here's a gem. Get you some Vicks Vapor Rub whenever you're like stopped up. Get you a little piece of tissue and put it in there. And then stick it up there. Oh, gosh. When I had a sinus infection, that was exciting. You're welcome.
I wish I would have known a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh. It was so helpful. But, man, I just... I have to catch myself now, though, because I don't want to allow the grief of my father to affect me going forward. I've already allowed it to affect the people or I've already allowed it to contribute to the access I gave to the people that shouldn't have had access to me. I allowed that to, but I truly believe that was the reason why I gave people access that did not need access to me. And I'm healing that. Like, it was like piling on. So it's like, I want to make sure that for real this time, like, I'm ready to let go of just the baggage of it all. The baggage of what my grief has caused me. Because grief will make you do some stuff. Like, grief will have you out here drinking every night, partying every night. I ain't gonna act like, I did not drink. Best friend,
Yeah.
You could vouch. Before my dad passed, I was vegan.
Yeah.
I wasn't eating no meat.
And
I was eating fish a little bit. Yeah, I was eating fish a little bit. But I wasn't drinking at all. I did not drink a single drop of alcohol. When that man passed away, baby, I went on wine tasting, and it was up ever since. And I really believe, it was. I went on wine tasting, and then ever since then, I've been buying bottles of wine ever since. And then I graduated to the hard. Went from wine to, what was it, Jack and Coke, to green apple Jack and Coke, green apple Jack and lemonade. Yum naming drinks. This gonna help somebody. Please, somebody. They gonna be like, that's why I like green apple Jack and lemonade. I'm grieving. And then to tequila, and then like now it's just like, you know what? How did I from nothing? How did I go from nothing to tequila?
Wow.
In 2 years.
Wow. Trying to numb the pain?
Hold on. Trying to numb the pain. Yeah, it's still recording. Trying to numb the pain. Unknowingly. I had discipline before.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I feel like I lost because I didn't care. I sat there. I remember it was the summer that he passed away. I would buy things of Oreos and eat the whole package. I never did it. I never did it. I bought the whole I'll talk about the big things of Oreos. And I would eat the entire pack of Oreos. I gained 40 pounds that summer.
Wow.
Yeah. And I had discipline. And so I feel like when you're grieving, we have to be careful because your discipline will go out the window.
Yep.
Because it's like you don't care. So a lot of times people can go into a depression and not know it. And grief will be something that can take you into a depression and you not know it. Grief had me in a depression and I didn't know it. My willpower was gone. My discipline was gone. My ability to say, oh, y'all are going to get ice cream. Okay, I'm going to get my ability to say, y'all going to get ice cream. Nah, I don't want no ice cream. My ability to say no completely left. Everybody getting ice cream, bet, give me the ice cream. Everybody taking a shot, bet, give me a shot. Everybody doing this, bet. When before I was just like, man, like I don't care. When grief set in, it took away my discipline. I used to fast 3 times a week. I mean, I ain't trying to like toot my horn or nothing, but I was fasting a lot. Like me and Apryl, I would call Apryl and be like, "Girl, let's fast this week," and she'd be like, "Okay." We would be fasting, like
You were
and
on it.
that was yeah. It's like I lost my desire to live. And I'm not saying that I was out here trying to like, I was having suicidal thoughts or anything, but I lost my desire to be the best version of me for sure. And I never thought that I never thought that I would be like that.
Wow. So would you say that grief could possibly be the gateway to depression, alcoholism, all of the destruction that the devil wants?
Absolutely. Absolutely, it's the gateway. And you know what else? A lot of people think that you can only grieve a person, but it's like you said, you can grieve an expectation. Yeah. You can grieve I thought I'd be here by now. Let me grieve that. You can grieve, I thought I'd have kids by now.
Yes.
You can grieve, I thought I'd have a house by now.
Sure.
You can grieve that. Like, we out here thinking that grieving is just, I lost somebody. Right. It's not. Mm-hmm. Grieving is, man, I thought I'd have a house by now. Now I feel stuck. And let me grieve that season because that's over with. Look at the market now. Like, that's over with. You know what I'm saying? Like,
keeps you in a stronghold.
Grief? Yeah. Grief is definitely a gateway into depression. But what makes it tricky is that it can slide in unexpectedly from any type of disappointment.
Yes.
Think how easy it is to be disappointed.
Yeah.
How easy it is.
This day and age.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would say that grief damages your perspective. And so that's why grief damaged my perspective in such a way that's why I looked at men like they had to be the enemy. Number one, my grief made me give access to people that didn't need to have access. Those people came in and did their wreckage, And so now grief has partnered with this trauma to affect my perspective. And now I'm looking at every man like he's abusive. I'm looking at every man like he's a cheater. I'm looking at every man like he's a liar. I'm looking at every man like he is gonna, like he's public enemy number one. All because of grief.
But on the flip side, grief can elevate your discernment. It can elevate you to guard your heart, guard your mind, guard your body, guard your spirit. It has its pros and cons. It can be a benefit.
Absolutely. When you come out.
I'm sorry.
I feel like that happens when you come out of grief. Like, or how can I, because I do still kind of feel like I'm grieving my father, but I feel like I'm starting to grieve him in a healthier way now. Like I'm grieving the fact that my dad passed away. Like I'm not grieving the fact that I lost the only man that'll ever love me. Yeah. Like I feel like when you realize that, number one, when you realize that you're grieving, and number two, when you allow it to reveal to you how you've allowed it to be negative in your life, you have to be able to see that before you can let the positives come out. Because I did not start season 2 of this podcast until I recognized that I was grieving. I ended season 1 in 2021, the year my father passed. Do you think I meant to wait 2 years? No. Grief will delay you.
Yep.
But you have to recognize that you're in it, and people don't recognize they're in it. They're just out here like, yeah, I know I lost this person. I know I did this and did that, but it is what it is. Life goes on. No, sweetie, you're grieving. And and I'm not saying that once you start to grieve in a healthy way that it gets easier, but you start to realize, okay, this is what that is. This is that. It's not that every man is out to get me. So now I have to be, have my guard up around every man and have to, cuss every man out and, make every man my enemy. It's okay. This is grief. It's because I thought I lost the only man that would ever truly love me. Let me see as I guard my heart and move forward. Because yes, I can see how God is going to take the people that grief gave access to in my life. I can see how God's going to take that and turn it good. But, man, it's just, I don't know. It's hard.
Very complex.
Very. And my cousin used to give out grief packets. And I remember when my daddy died, I told everybody, I said, tell her don't be giving me no grief packets because I was pissed. I was like, she better not come over here with no grief packet. She better not send no grief packet, which, she meant well because she used to send them to me to give people. Like when she heard somebody pass away in our town, like she would either send it to me or mama, and she'd be like, take this to so-and-so, because they lost their child or they lost their husband or whatever. And then which now makes me wonder, dang, I wonder if that's how they were feeling when I gave them the grief packet. But now when I lost my dad, I was like, she better not give me no grief packet. Y'all better tell her I ain't answering the phone for her. She better not send me no grief packet. Dang. Y'all better make sure she understands that. Don't send no grief.
Because you don't want to hear that. Like, you're in a state of shock of what just happened and, all that. It's going to be okay and they're in a better place and all of that. You don't want to hear that. Like, get out of my face.
Her defense, yeah, correct. And in her defense, it wasn't that. It was more so telling you the steps of grief that you will experience and that I did kind of experience. Like the denial step, basically preparing you for what you're about to go through. But I mean, okay. So as an outsider looking in, I feel like we kind of interviewing each other here. So as an outsider looking in, is it fair to say, or could you possibly see that as pride?
Wait. As in people giving you advice for grief as pride, or you not accepting their advice as pride?
As someone who does not like to grieve in front of people, cry in front of people, like how I was with my brother, like he had to show up because I didn't want to talk like that. I don't want to be surrounded by people if I'm sad, if I'm grieving. That's not what I want. Like, I'll come to you when I'm ready. Would you see that as pride?
No. Because everybody grieves or takes news like that differently. Some people will joke about it. Some people want to be around people. Some people don't. So I don't see it. I don't see that as pride. Do you?
Well, I don't know, but I'm sitting here thinking like, man, I didn't want anyone around me that had very good intentions for me. It's not like they were trying to, be rude to me or whatever, but I just did not. I thought I could handle it my own way. I thought I could really do it my own way. I thought I could grieve my own way. Like, I knew grief. Yeah, okay, what's up? But I thought I could grieve. There was nobody that could tell me how to grieve.
Right.
And so I didn't want nobody telling me how to grieve. And so I'm like, well, is that pride?
It may be just.
I feel like it's. I feel like it kind of is. I feel like it kind of is.
But then
because simply because who are you to know what you need better than God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pride is I know more than God. That's how I see pride. I know more than God. I know what I need more than God. So who am I to tell God, this is how I want to grieve my dad. Don't send nobody over here. This is how I want to grieve my dad. Don't send me no packets. What if and I know because like my cousin, it was the church that set up the grief packets. So it wasn't like it was coming from, what if it was pride saying, I just don't want to see nobody see me sad. I don't want nobody to know that I really feel like I'm unlovable. And so if they seem like just what if that is a form of pride? Now, I'm not saying that God out here judging people that, don't want to cry in front of nobody and nothing like that, but it's just like people love you for real. Like they don't want to see you hurting. Yeah, they're going to let you go through your process like you did for me. Everybody's got a process and you have, what's it called? Free will to do what you want to do. But now I'm just like, that was kind of prideful of me. Looking back.
Could it also stem from, well, I don't know about everybody's childhood, but could it also stem from childhood of not being able to express your feelings out loud?
Wow.
Because I feel like that is
probably
for me. Just thinking back.
Feeling misunderstood.
What now? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Feeling misunderstood or like your true feelings wouldn't even be heard.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. I can think back on when my grandmother passed away back in 2010. And she was a lot of things to a lot of people. But for me, being around some of my family members, like I didn't want to be around them, even though we were dealing with the same things in different ways. Like I didn't want to be around them. Like I literally had to leave my grandmother's house when everybody came to visit. I had to go. Like I didn't want to be there. And I kind of felt selfish in a way because dang, like that ain't even my mama. That's my grandma. It should be my mom that's feeling this way and doesn't want to be bothered with anybody. Who am I, But I guess I didn't know how to express how I felt at that particular time. And I really didn't want to cry like that in front of people, even though they were my family members. I didn't want them to see me in that sensitive, sad state, even though we were all dealing with it.
Yeah. I get that. I get that. And that does just go back to it. Number one, you never know how you're going to grieve somebody. If you would have told me, Faith, when your father passes away, you're going to be a mess for at least a good 3 years. Or, well, 2. At least a good 2 years, you're going to be a mess. I'd be like, what you mean? Like, we don't even talk every day. Like, we're not, he didn't raise me. Like, it wasn't like we lived in the same state, same city, or nothing. Like, what do you mean? So, a lot of my grief was like, it was just a shock to me that I was even grieving as much as I was. But I completely get that. And I do see where comparison to, your childhood and how whether or not your feelings were actually heard and accepted can affect how you share them. I definitely, every time I cried when I was little, I got called a crybaby. I got made fun of, and my family will tell you, they still call me a crybaby. Even though, now I don't feel like I cry as much because I don't like to cry in front of people. I feel like that's what taught me to hold in my cry. Is because every time I would cry back then, they called me a crybaby. No, my feelings are hurt.
Right.
And now, I try to be that for my nephews or my nieces. If they want to cry, let them cry.
Right.
They're hurting. I understand your feelings hurt, and as an adult, I might not understand, but I'm not going to laugh at you. Can you, as an adult, when we laugh at kids who their feelings are hurt and you call them a crybaby, as an adult now, it's how you gonna laugh at me because my feelings hurt?
Right.
You're just a grown bully.
Right.
What are you talking about? I have feelings too.
Right.
So I do think that played a major role in why I don't like crying in front of people. Because when I did, I was made to they would make me feel shame for crying.
Right, and for what? like they've never cried before. Come on, man.
The child cousin, she wrote me a letter, and I think I still have that letter, but whenever I bring it up, she's like, I remember. She said she did not like how they did me. Because I would always I don't know, I'm just sensitive. And I'm still sensitive, but now it just comes out differently. Now I might just talk a little heavier instead of crying. Or I'm still gonna cry. But, only those closest to me gonna see it. And if it's real bad, ain't nobody gonna see it. Because, I don't know, there's still probably just still a little shame there. I can't allow myself to flow like I used to. And I just got that revelation just now. Wow, thank you for actually being could it possibly be from your childhood? Because that's true.
Yeah, we grew up in a generation of be quiet or I'm going to give you something to cry about, couldn't really express how you felt in that particular moment. So you suppress it and you just keep suppressing throughout life.
I look at it. As adults, can't cry for nothing, can't don't want to talk about feelings for nothing. We really got to do better.
Yes.
We really got to do better. This I'm pretty going to be a part 2 because I think this is going to be a 2-parter because number 1, we had a lot to say. Number 2, I mean, I don't think there's a way that you can really round it off. So let me ask you this final question. How would you encourage someone who just now got the revelation, wow, I'm grieving. I didn't even know I'm grieving. How would you encourage them?
Sit in it. Sit in your emotions. Ask yourself questions. why, how, what do I need to do to process this out in a healthy way? Whether that's exercising, journaling, hanging out with people that make you happy, whatever it is, process it in a healthy way. And it's okay to feel how you feel. Just feel it. It's okay. Feel it.
Right. My advice would be, I watched after I tell you the story, I watched a podcast episode of a guy. I cannot remember his name. I wish I could remember his name. But he was talking about grief. He had lost his wife, and she was pregnant with their second child, 10 weeks pregnant. Some robbers had seen him going to work early in the morning, and they were robbing the house 2 doors down. And so they decided to break into their house and killed his wife, his pregnant wife. And so he was grieving, and he didn't want to, he didn't know how to process it. He didn't want to process it. It was like it felt too real if he thought about it. And what he had to come to the realization was he had to get real with God, and have honest emotions. And you remember me telling you about how freeing it is and how good I feel after I'm just like, God, I'm mad at you, and this is why. Like, you pissed me off, and this is why. And he said that he had to learn that when he felt triggered, because every day he would get in his car, and he had some type of car that would play like the first 15 seconds of an album, the last recorded album, no matter what. And the last recorded album or whatever that would always play would be like the playlist from their wedding. And so every time he got in his car, he was triggered. And so he had to realize that whenever he was triggered, he had to get into those triggers and dive into those triggers and allow himself to be triggered so that he could actually find healing. There's healing in there, and there's things that God wants to do through you and for you in those triggers. I think about the story of Moses when he saw the burning bush. There was something within him that could not pass by that bush. I look at that bush as a possible trigger. God wants to do something with you through your triggers. And we know that as soon as Moses stopped at that bush, God began to, to give him instruction and begin to talk to him about not only who Moses was, but who God was. Sometimes when we're triggered, and I know we want to run from it, sometimes you have to run towards the roar. When I heard him say that, I knew then I'm going to have to start processing differently. I'm going to have to start really paying attention to my triggers and seeing what God wants to say in those triggers. Just like Moses had to stop at that burning bush, I'm going to start stopping at my triggers so that I can see what God is wanting to say to me. Maybe he's about to give me some type of direction because of this trigger that could possibly free a nation, that could possibly let his people go, whatever. I know I'm getting deep, but I would say that when you're triggered, because you will be, and you're not going to always know what those triggers are going to be. It could be a smell. It could be a color. It could be a sound. It could be just a dream you had. It could be something that you heard. It could be somebody random's voice that sounds like that person. It could be anything. You're not going to always know what that is, but lean into that. You're feeling triggered right now. God, what does this mean? What are you trying to tell me about this? This still hurts. What is this? And let him lead you. So thank you for talking to me.
You're welcome. Thank you for that.
About grief. You pulled out your paper towel. And you know what? You were so vulnerable, and I love that. That's one thing. I am so grateful that God gave me a best friend who I can be vulnerable with, but who also can be vulnerable with me, and we could just, nothing is ever off limits. And I love that. I love you. So y'all go follow Apryl everywhere. She's Apryl Nicole Signs. Y'all see how it's spelled if y'all are watching it. If you're not, it's APRYLNICOLEDESIGNS, right? Apryl
No
Nicole
S on the design.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, see. I should have had you spell.
It's okay.
Yeah. Y'all follow her everywhere. She's going places, and if you need any type of design, just hit her up, and she got you, like, for real. Super talented, and my best friend, period. And y'all already know I love you, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next episode.
Bye.